Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a review of The Little Things. My name, oh boy, I don't know. I don't know. I'll just say, I'll just say in the Clown Prince of Podcast, Travis Snell. It fits, there's a Joker in this movie and things like that. And I'm joined by, if you listen to After Nine, you know this man's voice, Clay. How are you doing tonight?
Doing all right. And I guess I'm the new guy, Clay, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're
There's
making an
Nick.
official review debut. Yeah, well,
Oh
no,
yeah.
I know because you are similar in the sense of me and Liam are a lot. You watch a lot of the films that me and Liam watch. Dylan watch. He's like taking it back on his movies, but he used to be the same thing. Like, we watch a lot of similar of the like kind of more indie Oscar movies. So I knew you were. So I was like, okay, I gotta ask Clay if he's watching this and wants to be on a review. And I saw it and I was like, okay, we'll still review it because I was expecting maybe a little bit more. But before we get in the review, everything you need to know is down below the description where you can find us on audio, video feeds. There will be ads in this podcast, but I'll throw them and you'll get a little warning there. So Clay, because you are the new guy, I'll throw to you. What did obviously so you have HBO Max. Were you excited for this movie? And then also, what was your overall thoughts? And then we'll let everybody know when we're getting into spoilers. So, what were your overall thoughts and your excitement for this movie? Is it like the cast? Is the director? Or what was it?
So yeah, I think I have a complicated relationship with the director, and I'll get to that a little later. He's done a bunch of movies, but I
Mhm.
think, this is just the first big movie kind of to come out on HBO Max this year, other than Wonder Woman, which I guess
Yeah.
is technically Christmas, but. I don't know. It's kind of an event. You got Denzel Washington, and it was supposed to go to theaters, and so I assume you guys are going to review most of these HBO Max movies, right?
Well, most of them, but you got to think. So I have lucky enough, someone from the podcast network gave me HBO Max as a gift, but we don't have HBO Max out here. So I actually
Yeah.
don't know how in Canada you watch the little things. I have it because VPN. Someone gave it to me as a gift. That's great, but I don't like the Snyder Cut they announced. We have a thing called Crave, and that's like our. We have HBO, but not really. But Crave is like a partner with HBO out here, so they're gonna
Yeah.
get it. But with this, I'm not sure if it's on there because with Wonder Woman, we didn't get it. We had to do VOD for Wonder Woman and
Oh yeah.
a few select theaters. So that's where I think like I think the movies that interest me, like I think Kong will for sure be doing. I know we're gonna for sure do some of those bigger ones like Mortal Kombat. I'm very excited for Judas and the Black Messiah this month.
Me
That
too.
is,
Me
yeah,
too.
that's coming up. So
That
and
looks
I'm
sweet.
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's really good. So I think most of the bigger ones we will, but the more indies like In the Heights. I don't know if anyone's reviewing that on the podcast. That's that Lin-Manuel Miranda one. He's like has a
Oh,
new
the
musical coming
musical.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I'll
summer.
I'll
So I
check
think
it out, but yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Got it. Yeah. No. So I was excited for this one. I'm a Denzel fan. Who isn't? But I want to go out there and say I think that's my biggest problem with the movie. I think he's just horribly miscast and underused. And I don't know. The rest of the movie doesn't make up for him. You got to let Denzel cook, and I don't think this movie lets him cook at all.
yeah. He's more just on a simmer the whole movie, and you're waiting
Yeah.
for more. It's funny that I'm not the opposite because I think that I don't know for me if Denzel was miscast, but I definitely felt he was underused. I was on the side of I thought Rami Malek was miscast.
That's a whole nother. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, my overall is just I'm the same thing. I was excited as far as I remember the first trailer for this, and it was like Academy Award winner. Academy, they were just showing off
Oh
everything
yeah.
they had, and I'm always down for like a detective tale, like a crime noir. This isn't a crime noir, but it's just that sense of like there's a mystery, a who done it, and we got to figure out who it is. I got a fascination with serial killers, but nowadays with how popular true crime podcasts are, it's not weird to say that anymore because those are like
Right.
the most popular
Right.
podcasts. So it's like there's apparently more people out there like me that feel the same way. So I was interested in it, and yeah, there's not many big movies. All the movies now are getting delayed, so it's like other than HBO, Netflix, it's like that's all we kind of know it's coming out. So I was excited for it for the most part, and then so it's not. So my overall thoughts is I can't say I enjoyed the movie. I don't think it's a bad movie as far as like with our Golden Geeks. I don't think I would put it as like worst movie of the year or anything like that. I know it's early, and so it's like maybe that's a great year, but it's like I don't think it's anything like offensive. It just is like one of those movies you watch and there's just so much potential in it, and it just feels like wasted potential. Yeah, I agree with you about Denzel. It just kind of felt like he was there for the most part. It didn't feel like it was unique to Denzel or Denzel brought anything unique to it. Rami Malek, yeah, we'll talk about it in a second when we get into spoilers because I just feel like what they were trying to go for. Either they directed him wrong or he played it wrong, and I just feel that like it, every scene I couldn't get past some of the stuff he was doing, some of how he was saying. And Rami Malek's kind of like a different type of guy, but they tried to play him up as like a straight man, like a very popular egocentric straight man, and not straight in his sexual orientation, just like uptight, like. But it's just he didn't. He's just an oddball in this movie, and it was just a strange dynamic. And honestly, Jared Leto's probably the best part of this movie. I don't have any problem with his acting, even writing. I don't think, and I'll try not to be too specific, but I think that whatever out of the three, I think he was used the best, or he did the best. So I enjoyed his performance, but it's not like, wow, he was amazing in anything. I just think, okay, it was a good performance. All the other two I thought were either kind of not doing much or quiet. The movie overall, I just feel it sounds like a really insult because like what I said, but I feel like it's a straight to VOD movie, but with like a bigger budget and a bigger cast. That's what it feels like to me. Like this is a movie that I would have seen like Nick Cage doing 3 years ago in a DVD bin, right? But like this has these like actors that have, recently, like Leto won an Oscar, I think the past 5 years, something like that. Rami just won a few years ago. So these are guys like on the top of their game. And I don't know, I just wonder when they read the script, like what really spoke to them. And even then there's like some stuff with the ending that I think they're trying to be really smart, and then they kind of cut themselves out from the knees with it. And you're like, oh, I don't know if you needed to do that. And it just, I don't know. It didn't, there wasn't, I couldn't point you to a great scene. I couldn't point you to like an uber great performance. I think Jared Leto was good. I like even cinematography doesn't feel like it's anything, you know, ex, I don't know, anything that stands out, anything especially well done. And as far as, trying to think if I would only reason I recommend this is if you obviously have nothing else to watch, which I'm sure that's not the case. There's so much out there. But if you really like one of these people, I still think you could miss it. But if you really, really like them, I really have to see it. I know a few people that liked it, so we're not like there's people out there, but I don't know. It just felt like it was missing something the whole time. And that's kind of my thoughts. Did you have anything else non-spoiler to say?
Yeah, no, I think I pretty much agree with you on all of that. I feel like Rami Malek was coming off a high from winning for Bohemian Rhapsody, and he's just like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna be another total character. Like Freddie Mercury, super interesting guy, one of a kind, and then he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna be another one of the kind guy. But I think he just takes it a little too far, and it's just kind of weird. And
Well, he's an interesting guy because I like unfortunately we haven't seen the Bond movie, and then that's where I think like he's perfectly placed as like a Bond villain. The vibe he gives off, something like I'm not sure if you watched Mr. Robot when he was on that, but he played like a kind of like a loner stalker guy, but it's like another role where it's kind of he's a little weirder, and like it's not a bad thing to say. I think I don't want to use the word weird, but I think he's not eccentric, but he's just a different type of cat. Like even in real life, he's just a different type of guy, and I feel like it brings that over. It reminds me a lot of like when you're talking about him coming off Bohemian. It reminds me a lot of Johnny Depp after Pirates, where I feel like every role it's like he has to be some wacky character. And I was like, I just want to see him do regular stuff again, and he did that here and there, but he never really went back to doing like a Donnie Brasco or like a Blow or something like that, where it's like he's playing a regular dude. Like even Black Mass, I think was the closest he ever got to that. But even then, that's like a big character. He's always snarling and stuff. And I think Rami sometimes falls into that, where it's like in this world that's supposed to be realistic, he acts just a little too off kilter for. And if he's playing a cop that's supposed to be off kilter, then it's like okay, this makes sense. But to me, they kind of make him seem like he's trying to be. And people have thrown this out before, but like Brad Pitt from Seven, where he's like the everyday type of guy that like is just wants to do good, but he doesn't come off as an everyday type of guy, in my
yeah,
opinion.
you can't connect with them at all. And when I
No.
say weird, I think I mean the long pauses and the looks he gives people, which I don't
Oh
think is
yeah.
part of his personality. He's probably a personable guy in real life. He's just like he's doing these weird long pauses, and I guess part of that is the editing maybe, but it just feels off.
Yeah, and that was one of my biggest problems was editing this movie because I felt there were so many cuts in this movie when people were talking. It was like boom, boom. It was like not like when like Liam Neeson's trying to get over the fence and take, and you're like, oh, I understand why they're doing this. Yes, it's silly to make fun of it. It's like okay, he's older, they're shooting around, but this is just in a room like three people are talking. Like I remember the interrogation scene, and it was like it didn't feel like it was causing like intensity. It was just, it was like, why we do it. It felt like they had some missing footage and they used ADR stuff, but that wasn't the case. I don't think. I like from me watching it didn't seem like that, but it seemed like if they were telling me, yeah, we lost some footage and we just had to really make some quick cuts, and that happened throughout the movie. And I don't know why they did that. It was really strange. And then I think the last thing I can say that's non-spoiler is they try to do like people talk about the seven. They try to me do is like Denzel and Rami's gonna try and be like Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. And for Seven, because I'm not gonna spoil this movie, that's like a movie where these two guys are kind of at odds, have different ideologies as far as how they handle things, but then they come together to figure out this case. They do that in this movie, but my problem is when they come together, I just felt like they're at odds for so much of it, and then they say like two lines to each other, and that's it. They're like they're fully, and we're like with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman in Seven, it was like there was this feeling out process. Can I trust them? And then eventually having each other over for dinner, stuff like this. This was just like they dislike each other, they don't see eye to eye, and then like Randy Malek's character says like two things maybe, and then it's like okay, we're good, and it wasn't even like that deep of two things. So I thought their chemistry was lacking, but I don't know if that one was acting. I think that was a writing as far as they didn't really have anything for these characters to not bond over, but just find a common ground other than we got to catch this killer.
Yeah, they never in Seven they do a good job of putting Pitt and Morgan Freeman in the shit together. Like they're going through all this scary stuff together. And in this, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but it's all slow. And then uh, toward the end, I'm not going to reveal anything, but they're not in the shit together enough, and yeah, you don't get to see them bond as much as you would have liked toward the end, you know?
And they do this like, and I'll say this for spoilers, they just kind of do this like, I think very cheesy, hit you over the head storyline with these two as far as something down the road. I'll open up the spoilers just so people know what I'm talking about. But the other thing is too is I didn't feel I was disappointed by like the serial killer stuff, as weird as it sounds to say. Like I wasn't expecting Seven. I know everyone holds up Seven as this like, the creative kills, stuff like that with the sins and all that stuff. So it's like, okay, very creative, very cool, like a trademark and stuff like that. I felt like even the trademark in this movie, not that greatest. And like there was nothing about the crimes that didn't feel anything more that I could see on like CSI when it was on back in the day. Like with Seven, it was like, oh, this feels like I couldn't see this on TV. These are some really disturbing kills that are going to stick with me. And kills, of course, are always disturbing, but in the movie sense, I don't think there was anything done here. I was like, oh, this is creative, or this is kind of a fun gimmick. It was like, okay, there's just a weird killer that's it just got killing people, like nothing too special. He ties them up a little. Okay, I guess, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anything else?
No, and I mean, I think there are a few fun little gimmicks that they kind of do with some of the clues that I'll talk about when we get to the spoilers
Mhm.
section. But those are more kind of funny in an ironic way. Yeah, I don't think they're doing that much clever here.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we're about to get into spoilers. You're going to hear an ad, and then we'll be in spoilers. So we'll be right back. And now we're back. So yeah, it's your last chance. If you've seen the little things, go ahead. If you don't care, go ahead. If you still watch it, it's time to jump out. I wanted to talk about, because like I said, I was leading off with that in the non-spoilers, was so with Denzel and Rami. Like I said, I don't think they bonded well because I know what you're talking about with the looks. I thought it was so cheesy when Rami's like having his press conference, and right in the middle of his press conference, like Denzel's walking, he's like just staring him down in the middle of all these other people. It's not,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like
Oh
this movie,
yeah.
there's like it's not subtle at all. All this stuff, like even the way Jared Leto acts, just like it's all up in your face, but not in like the this is well done way. It's like this guy's literally in a press conference and he's just like staring this guy down, turning his whole body to look at him. It's like no one's gonna be like, hey, like this guy's kind of weird, and and it felt weird because at first I wasn't sure what the route they're going. I thought they were gonna take like a racist route because like he just singled him out so quickly and just like he just had this look of content in his eye or contempt in his eye and this is the first time they're meeting. He doesn't even know his name, but he's just like staring him down. So it was just weird, the introduction. But then like I said, they talk a little bit and then all of a sudden he's like very much like Seven, inviting him over to his place and stuff like that. I felt not earned at all. But what they keep trying to do in this movie, they're like, so Denzel, we'll get more into it, but the main thing is he was a cop, he had a wife, two kids. Something happened that kind of ruined his marriage and he's kind of off on his own. And they keep trying to portray that like, oh, Rami's going down the same path. But like they do it so much. And then at the ending, like, and we're in spoilers now, but when they do like almost the exact same thing, the big reveal is Denzel accidentally shot an innocent woman. So like ruined him and messed him up. So okay, yeah, fair enough. But then Rami like kills, and we'll get into Jared Leto too. Like he kills what could be an innocent person, and they cover up. So it's like literally, and they do this whole thing of Denzel being like, oh, the future becomes the past, and the past becomes the future. And it's just like, so 30 minutes in, you just know where it's going, and it doesn't pivot at all.
Yeah. Did you know that this movie was written in 1990? Did you see that? And it sat on a
It was
shelf.
written in 1990.
And it sat on a shelf.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was just I didn't see that. It takes place in 1990, so I was like, okay, but yeah, it makes sense because it's just
Yep.
like I I don't even know. Like even in the 90s, it's just I don't know even know why this got broken out now of why someone took it.
Me
Almost 30
neither.
years later, but like this is the time to make it. I guess maybe it's just one of these guys is like passion project. But yeah, what did you think? Because you were talking about some of Rami's staring. What do you think of their dynamic now that we're in spoilers?
Yeah, so some of that staring, I mean, you're talking about that press conference and that weird look. So it reminds me almost of Harvey Dent in Dark Knight. And
Hmm?
spoilers for Dark Knight, but it even kind of takes that turn at the end where they have to cover up what Rami did. And it's kind of like that Dark Knight thing, and he's doing press conferences and everything, just like Aaron Eckhart and Dark Knight and stuff. And but the thing is, Aaron Eckhart is cool in that movie. Like Harvey Dent is cool up until he turns into a bad guy. Rami Malek's just a weirdo staring at people, and so you don't connect to him at all. And then when he finally does the bad thing at the end, it's like, okay,
Well, because he, too many times, I was talking with my fiance, like, I didn't never ever think he was the killer, but he was acting like he might be the killer, like
yeah,
the way his
yeah,
performance was. And
yeah.
that's why I was like, are we actually on this road? But no, it's just him being weird. So I appreciate, like, I hated all the stuff, like, when he gets in the car with Leto near the end of the movie. So for people that
Yeah.
didn't watch, they think Leto's this killer, and he's like, the whole Rami's looking for this girl. And he's like, come with me, I'll show you where the girl is. One, it's just like, dumb. You're like, I don't know. I'm never gonna get a car serial killer, but I get it. He's like so obsessed he has to find this girl. He promised his parents, "I'll find your daughter." So okay, fair enough. He's a desperate man. He's gonna try and get this done. He gets in the car, but there's so many times where Leto's like, "It's just over there," and Rami like looks at him. He like smiles at him weirdly and just gives him like a and then like at one point he's like, dig here, and he's like, and then I don't know. I was like, why are you laughing and like smiling with the serial killer? And it was a strange dichotomy that they had. And Rami, that's like he just was like he was just a weird cat, and I think for too weird for what they were portraying this character to be, in my opinion. It didn't feel genuine. It just felt like, okay, Rami wants to be in this role, or we got Rami Malek, put him with this. And the whole time I thought, oh, this should have been someone else. This should have been any like not anybody else, but just I think you might have had more success putting Leto in the Rami role and then
Oh,
Rami in the Leto
that would have
role.
been
But
that would have been interesting.
yeah,
Oh man.
like you said, they do the whole cover up, and I wanted to ask you about the very end because I know we're jumping over. That's what we do here at Geek First. So they do this thing where the parents mention to Rami that hey, she's always wearing this red beret, her daughter, right? And at one point, Denzel breaks into Leto's apartment and he's looking through all this stuff. And Rami's like, "Did you find the red beret?" The red beret comes up a lot of times. Like this could be the proof that he killed this girl or at least these girls. And then at the end, Rami kills Jared Leto, which he's a pretty small dude, so he had a lot of adrenaline with that shovel hit. Like I believe someone could die from that, but Rami Malek when they did one shot, and he's just such a small man, it's like I don't know if he could have he could have definitely concussed him. But I don't know if he could have killed Jared Leto with that shovel. But I digress. He's dead. They cover it up. They take everything in his hotel room, his body, bury it. And then near the end of the movie, Rami's like really torn over this, and he gets a red beret in the mail. What I didn't like is they later on reveal that Denzel sent it to him. I had that in my mind of because in the movie they don't show Jared Leto being guilty at all. They many times say he's just a crime buff, and even when he goes in the room, there's nothing that shows he's guilty. So that this guy's not guilty. I just wish they didn't show Denzel buy it. I wish they left it open ended of did Denzel send him this because he found it in the room or did Denzel go and buy it? But then they kind of revealed at the end he bought it. And I thought that would have been a better ending to just leave that hidden. I don't think I needed to know that. I liked the, oh, what did he do that? And then, okay, no, he sent the red beret. But what do you think about the ending?
So wait, I think I missed this. So the red beret signified that Leto did do it.
Well, if they would have found it, he did. But what happens is Denzel never found it. He went and bought a red beret and sent it to Rami just to like clear his conscience to be like,
Oh,
because the whole
oh,
time,
that's kind of cool, but
yeah. But I don't mind it, but I wish it was a bit open ended. But yeah, so because it's supposed to be like the same way when he shoots that girl Denzel in the past, they're like, oh, stab wound. Like those people kind of, helped him out, so he's kind of
yeah.
helping Rami out to,
So
you
Rami
did the
doesn't have
right
to
thing.
live with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even though my
yeah.
fiance brought up the thing of like, okay, so if Jared Leto wasn't the guy though, and like another murder happens, I think Rami Malek right away is gonna know, hey,
I didn't think of that.
yeah, like
Oh
I thought
man.
this for like what the heck, Joe? Like you sent me this red beret. I thought this was the guy. I guess he would just hope that he wouldn't put two and two together, wouldn't want to. But yeah, so yeah, the ending. Sorry, I cut you off. But what were you
No, you're
thinking there?
good. Yeah, no, I was just gonna, I guess I was just gonna say it's not satisfying at all. I mean, in Seven, there's this big build up to the final scene and what happens, and Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt they're in the shit together. Like they're going through this whole thing with the John Doe character and doing all this stuff together. And like they say, you bond the best when you're in intense situations with people
Hmm.
sometimes. And they're doing all that. But in this movie, Rami Malek's alone with Leto the whole time, and they're just doing weird monologues to each other. And you have these two characters who are just weirdos. You don't know what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden the shovel thing. I mean, it's not fun to watch. And why is this movie 2 hours?
Oh yeah, and that
Yeah,
was the thing
what?
too. Like, so I liked Leto's performance, but the two things I guess I'll put them together as the best example is the interrogation scene. I liked him, but I didn't find him like intimidating at all. And I also think they made them both look like the cops made them both like the film made Denzel and Rami look like idiots in that interrogation scene because like Rami is supposed to be. I get it that Denzel, it's a different scope, stuff like that. But Rami supposedly keeps him as like the top of his game. But he has to keep taking these stupid phone calls in the middle of interrogating people to like get some tips and stuff like that. And it's just like when Denzel's like, "Do you think he's enjoying this?" and Rami's like shaking his head, yes. It's like I feel like this guy, if he's like the top of the department, should be able to figure this out. But like even the stuff Leto was saying of just like, haha, that looks cool. Like if this is shaking these cops, like what happens if they were to meet like the John Doe? Like these guys just felt so unprepared for. Clearly, this guy's gonna be a serial killer. He's gonna have like mind games, but like I didn't even feel like the mind games he was playing were like that good. Like I don't think
No.
he was like like
Yeah.
really like the fact that Denzel got so mad at him at one point, and everything like because like Jared Leto was getting worked up. It's just like I feel like he could still have kept his cool, but no, they just both went off the rocker, and they just yeah. I like I said, I like Leto's performance, but the character I had problems with as far as kind of that execution of trying to be scary. It just kind of felt like he was a dope sometimes, but
Yeah.
he would outschool these two cops all the time. So it's like, well, this dopey guy is outschooling these cops. How can I invest in this character or these characters if like they're making these dumb mistakes? And
Yeah, no, I agree. And that interrogation scene, it's like he's just a dumber John Doe. Like he's totally
yeah,
John Doe from Seven, except dumb and doesn't have anything cool about him. Like John Doe has no fingerprints. Like a lot of the reviews I was reading for this were saying it's a very pre-Seven thriller because it was written in 1990. And like, yeah, Seven, John Doe has those no fingerprints. That's cool. He doesn't have a name. Like he's super cunning. He had made this whole plan, and Leto has none of these, so there's not a reason to be scared of him. I mean, I agree
no,
that acting is good even, and I like how he walks with the limp and has the fake gut, like
yeah,
just
yeah.
just the Jared Leto touches that you knew he asked to throw in.
Oh yeah, and like he just and I do like that like some of the pronunciations after like the way he has like cadence was. He's like after this we can get tacos and like he did seem like a weird guy, but again like to me he seemed like the red herring weird guy, and I was waiting for like the other shoe to drop, and I was really worried though when they were digging holes and he started talking about Randy Malek's family. I thought they were literally gonna pull seven, and he was gonna like have
Oh
like
shit.
one of his family members in this hole, and I was like, please don't do this. Like I hope we're not doing this in the middle of a field and everything like that. And I love like we didn't get the time frame, but I love that he kills Jared Leto. He sits there and waits for a while, but he literally maybe it was a few hours, but when Denzel's like, I'll be back in a few hours, he just sat in the desert and he like not sat, I guess he was digging all those holes, but like he was there for so long, like just by himself, just sitting at this car, I would assume so. And yeah, it was just the ending was kind of a mess for me. I because I thought I was hoping that the movie was kind of mediocre, but I was like, okay, if we can get a good solid ending here, maybe this
Yeah.
can like really make this feel right for me. I feel like worth my time, and it wasn't worth like so much like oh I really wasted it. But it's funny because like Wonder Woman came out, I liked it enough, but I didn't blow me away. This didn't blow me away. As I said in the beginning of this cast, I think Jesus Messiah, from what I've heard, is great, so that's
I
good.
think
But
so too.
so far, yeah, so far I've been like, well these HBO Max movies, it's like, and they're supposed to go to theater. It's like I'm waiting for the really good ones, and
Yeah.
these two are not duds, but just kind of lackluster. But where did you want to go next?
Um, I just wanted to say real quick that when he was digging the holes, I thought there was going to be like a bomb or something that he was trying to get him to hit with the shovel. That would have been wild. But again, what would that have done? I don't know. They just kind of like that. No,
Okay.
no pun intended. They dug themselves into a hole kind of with the ending because it's just yeah. I would have liked it better, and you would have too if there was something that paid off at the end. But I didn't think there was a big payoff. It just there's nothing really satisfying.
Well, and the thing is, though, is like what I hate is like, so if Jared Leto's not the guy and he's not the killer, so his whole plan was like he's just messing with Rami Malek and he took him out there to dig these holes, right? And again, it's just like, well, these cops are just being outsmarted by this guy because when you're like, oh, there could be a bomb there or something, it's like, no, because this Jared Leto guy, he's just kind of an idiot, but he's still smart enough to outsmart these guys. So again, it's just like, I don't know. Like that's the whole. Once he got in the car and we got to the desert, the whole time I just sat back. Just kept saying to myself, like, "What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, where is this happening?" And then Denzel, he's just driving around for a little while, getting
Yeah.
coffee, and that's about it. But yeah, no. What else did you have on Denzel? Because I was I see where you're coming from as far as miscast. I just think like they didn't give him much to work with. He does this like solemn Denzel, but there's nothing. I don't know. There's not too much to chew on for him because he's playing a really solemn, like all of its internal character. But I don't know. It's kind of reminds me a lot of First Man, which I was not a fan of with Ryan Gosling because I
Actually,
just
never
didn't.
saw it.
Oh
I
yeah,
need
no,
to. Yeah.
it's good. It's not terrible, but like Ryan Gosling plays this character that like really has like zero emotions. It's like very hard to. He's doing a good job at it, but it's like hard to invest in him. But yeah.
Yeah, so with Denzel, I might have used the wrong word with miscast. I think you put it better underused. I mean, why did you go and get Denzel for this part? His whole thing is you wanna see him talk as much as possible. That's why you come to see a Denzel Washington movie, or why I do at least. I want to see him
Mhm.
talk, and for large sections of this movie, he's just either quiet, and I think he's fine at it, but he's quiet playing this broken guy, like you said, solemn guy. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not why well, you could have gotten anyone to do this part, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think he brings a few like more dramatic looks and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it didn't. It I do wonder, like, is it this something that he sought out and thought this was really good, or they did approach him to it? I don't know. I really couldn't tell you as far as anybody. Like I see Leto and I see Rami, or even Rami. Like if Denzel was cast, like just the chance to work with Denzel, it's like okay, well, even if you feel you're miscast for this role, and maybe he didn't, but I'm just saying, like even if your agent did, it's like well, but it's Denzel, you should probably just try to do it. So I could see why the other two are in it, but for him to be in it, I just think maybe he took a liking to it, and I don't know, or was a favorite of somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, he does a lot of like cop type movies. I was reading
Yeah.
something about that, and he just likes playing those kind of characters. So I think it's got to be that. And yeah, they might have had these other actors and said, "Let's combine you three." So
Mhm.
that probably drew him in. It was already a genre he liked. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. What else do you have?
Yeah, I wanted to talk for a sec about the director. Do you know this guy,
Mhm.
John Lee Hancock?
So I did and didn't at the same time. So because you and I talked about this on Discord, yeah, check out the GV Discourse and the details down there. You brought up that you had seen the Postman, and I forgot. Or is it the Postman, right, or the Highwayman? What is it called again?
Highwayman.
With the
Yep, Highwayman.
Highwayman, yeah. And I completely forgot that movie existed. I remember seeing previews for Netflix, but I'm like, right, that movie came out. So it's like, oh, maybe I don't know because I was so confused. I swear months ago I misheard somebody that Denzel had directed this. I found out like weeks later that like, okay, no, that was not the case. But I was like, okay, this is interesting, and it wasn't. So okay. And then after last night, yeah, once I finished it, and I was like, okay, what else has this guy done? Because it's just like you got to think like HBO Max movie, even that was going to the theaters, should have somewhat a good track record. And he does quite a bit. If you look at Saving Mr. Banks, The Founder, I really like. Did you ever see
Me
The Founder
too.
with Michael
Yep,
Keaton?
that
Yeah, I
movie's
really
good.
like that. And then there's another one he did as
Blindside.
well.
Blindside.
Blindside. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
he had a decent record. And again, same thing. I don't think this is like, oh, a director's jail movie. Nothing like that. I think, oh, okay, it just wasn't the greatest. But so I never saw Highwayman, but it feels like he's maybe a bit more, maybe on a bit of a down slope or a bad streak as far as movies that aren't amazing. But yeah, because I never saw Highwayman. You didn't speak too highly of it.
No, so yeah, I just think it's two movies in a row where he gets these all-star casts, and I'm just disappointed. Like Highwaymen, that's such a cool premise. They're hunting down Bonnie and Clyde, and it's
Mhm.
it's Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner. So that sounds awesome. I was super
Yeah.
excited for that, and it's just slow and a little bit of violence at the end, but like
Oh yeah.
nothing, nothing to get you excited at the end. And same with this movie. And the one, it's weird because those are both crime movies, and then he has one other crime movie, which I think was actually probably written around the same time as this. It came out in the mid '90s, and it's called A Perfect World. He wrote it, Clint Eastwood directed it, and
Hmm.
Kevin Costner plays a guy who's in jail who breaks out and he takes this kid hostage. But they kind of learn to
Really?
like
I've
each
never
other. Yeah,
seen
I think
this.
you'd like it, dude. I
Yeah.
recommendation to anyone who listens to this. But interesting movie, not very well seen, especially for a Clint Eastwood movie. But yeah, I mean, it's weird that I like that. We both like The Founder.
Mhm.
Blindside's good, and then he does two duds in a row. Most well, I guess not duds, but just not
Lower
satisfying.
quality than the other
Yeah,
one. Yeah, well,
yeah,
but even then though, if I do think about The Blind Side, I have to watch. It's been a good minute, so I watched that. But Saving Mr. Banks, I have a bit more in my mind. And Founder, those movies still do have like kind of a slow, not burn
yeah.
to them, but just a slower pace. Like it almost does feel like it sounds weird, but they're in a real life pace as far as you feel like you're actually in someone's day. Like The Founder, it took like to me a while before because it's all about Michael Keaton. He plays like this like shady guy who goes to the people that found McDonald's, but then he finds a way to like take it over, make himself top dog. It takes a while to really get to that point of even like McDonald's and stuff like that. And this movie, and I haven't seen The Highwayman, but I feel like he kind of does that. I guess it's just like maybe the back half of the movies, the substances in there. Like this movie definitely didn't have it. And then from like your count, it sounds like with The Highwayman, it didn't have that either. So he's still a guy that like when they announce next movie, be like, okay, I'm interested to see what he does and what, but he still gets these, like you said, he's getting these casts. But I guess it's just because the back record, and plus like anytime you help someone win an Oscar with Sandra Bullock or you get nominated for, because I feel like The Blind Side got nominated for Best Picture. I don't think he got nominated for director, but I feel like he got nominated for Best Picture, right?
It's
Because
possible.
I think that was in the time where we were getting 10 of them and whatnot. So I'm interested to see what he does in the future, but this one wasn't a shining light for me.
Yeah, I think the thing with him is he does two different kinds of movies, the crowd pleasing ones and the non-crowd pleasing ones. So even the ones like The Founder where it's kind of slow, kind of you're going with this guy throughout his day, it's still there's a crowd pleasing element to it. Like you have Michael Keaton solving this problem for himself, and like I guess he's kind of scummy at the end of that movie,
Yeah.
but like he's working towards something, and you get the fun scenes of everything coming together at McDonald's and stuff. And all those other movies, except for The Highwaymen and this new one, The Little Things, like there's nothing crowd pleasing. You don't feel happy or like you learned anything at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I did find out as well. The Blind Side was nominated for just two Oscars. It was for Best Actress, which obviously Sandra Bullock won, and then Best Picture as well. So he didn't get the Best Director nom, but
Okay.
and that was
9.
2009. Yeah. So was that this like is that the same year? Like, cause yeah, 2008, 2000. I don't even want to start on my rant of like Dark Knight not being nominated for Best Picture because it's just like I like The Blind Side, but like, come on now,
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Blindside's pretty simple.
And like and I like I said, I still think believe I still think it should have been nominated, but I still ever I look at Slumdog Millionaire and I just go like I like Slumdog Millionaire, but the fact that like this is the film that got nominated over and then won Best Picture that year, like I just feel like everybody just knows that because it was a comic movie that year's such a wash. I feel like everyone looks at each other like it should have been Dark Knight. Well, yeah, it should have been, but we really screwed up here. So that's why we had the rule. It's just like because and the same thing. This is my case I always make to Liam because he loves Slumdog Millionaire. But I just talk about because with me and Oscars, there is like everybody looks at things a different way, and lots of times there's stuff like impact that I feel more important. The same way like Black Panther, and actually I still think it's a great movie, but it's like the impact that had should be taken notice. And that was the same thing with me, Dark Knight versus Slumdog. Slumdog's a great movie, but I feel like I don't hear anybody talk about it. I don't feel like it didn't leave anything. I think it was just okay. Danny Boyle directed a really great movie. Where Dark Knight, it's like how many times has it come up? Not just for the comic book genre, but just like blockbuster genre in general. Chris, like it kicked off Christopher Nolan's career, and it's just like when I see that, like The Blind Side, I was like, come on now.
Yeah,
So a little mini rant here, but
I hear
yeah.
you.
Well, I'm so used to talking about Oscars around this time, but I gotta wait till April or March, so it's a weird time. So what else do you got?
Let's see. Looking through notes and stuff.
Mhm.
Let's let's maybe talk for a sec. Oh, all right. I got something kind of funny. So I was talking earlier about like a few of the little clever cop things they do, and how I thought they were more kind of funny in an ironic way. The pizza thing is an all-time great gag. I was chuckling so hard at that. They're like, they try to match up the pizza with the teeth of the girl, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Which is kind of cool and clever, but then they have the little stinger at the end of, oh, he's from the East Coast. How do you know that? He folds his pizza.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, that's just not true. I fold my pizza. I'm not from the East Coast. Oh, it's just good. I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But other than that, I think there were a couple other things like that, but I don't remember. There were a couple parts with decent writing like that where you have kind of cool little things, but just
Mm.
forgettable in the grand scheme. And I guess the last couple things I want to talk about are like the music and the cinematography and stuff. I thought those were both pretty good, but the especially the music had some good moments, but the small town that they were going for, I thought was just completely dead, and not in a good way where it's creepy, just completely dead in a way where like you get no sense of what this town is. You get no sense
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
people living in it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that's why because I even feel like with the cops, I feel like they're all like no offense, but it's more the right thing, but they're all just very bland characters.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like, "Hey, Joe, it's nice to see you," and like, yeah, music I had a problem with. Cinematography had like I don't think it was bad. I just was
Oh.
I thought with this movie, especially because I liked the poster they did, but I was expecting like, okay, the movie might not be great, but it might look great, and I feel like
Yeah.
it looked fine, but there was nothing that really stuck. But that's the thing. There's not like I couldn't think of any sequences that would be sticking out other than like, okay, you got to take the material and like make it special because sometimes, okay, if there's like a big, like, let's say the Jared Leto Rami Malek thing ended in like a chase or a big fight scene or something, then you go, okay, this is where we're going to shoot it, like, and look really cool. But it's like, no, it's just going to hit him with a shovel. So nothing really there. There's not really like a car chase. So there's not really opportunities for, like we talked about too earlier, the kills aren't anything crazy. So it's not like anything with the big shots. So it's like, what are you gonna do here? And I think it's like a serviceable job, but nothing stuck out for me. And been like, I thought they could have shot it better. But I think you are right as far as like the town. Not it just feels there. It's especially with
Yeah.
like because that's the thing like they're trying to make this serial killer Jared Leto feel like a big deal, but it never feels like that. It never feels like the town is on the edge of their seat or they're unnerved or anything like that. It just feels like this is some guy who's killed a few women, a few people, and just hasn't been caught yet. Not like some grand where like, which again I hate to say, but like with Seven, it does feel like okay, everyone's on pins and needles right now because at any point anybody could drop. But this is just okay. He's going after some random women and whatnot. There's no kind of rhyme or reason why he's picking them. So that's again like for me, it's a little less interesting as far as Seven. It's like you have all these people he picks; they don't make sense on like just looking at them. But then when you find out about the Seven Deadly, like, oh, okay, this is just he just drives around and okay, this is the person he likes. This is who he wants to kill. This is who he kills, and that's about it. And like okay, I guess.
Yeah, and another thing, it is kind of unfair to compare it to Seven, but I will say Seven they do a lot to make the town cool. Like you said, everybody's a little more on edge. Everyone's yelling a lot, which
Mm,
I guess could go wrong, but it really makes you nervous in Seven, and I think the music adds to that too. Seven, like all time great score. But between those two things and the constant rain and there's just zero sunlight, I think that really is what kind of like drowns Seven in dread and stuff. And in this, they just didn't do a good enough job with that. The town's just kind of empty and bland. I don't know.
yeah, and it's funny because you said this was written in the '90s. Was it just a script or was it based on a book or anything like that? Or
No, I think it was just a script, just a
it's funny,
pre-Seven
yeah,
script.
because because I was wondering that, and it feels like one of those book adaptions where it's like, okay, this might have been a really good book, but on paper it's not translating. That's how it feels like to me, and
Yeah,
yeah, so I guess it's not. But yeah, I am interested to find out why this script out of no,
me
like,
too.
30 years later came back. It's like this is what we have to make now, but
Oh yeah.
somebody sees something, they go, okay, I'm great. So, anything else? I think I've said pretty much everything I have on this movie.
Yeah, no, I think I've yeah kind of exhausted my notes. Very much looking forward to Judas and the Black Messiah. Kind of want to see
Yeah.
what HBO Max has got this year. That looks awesome.
Yeah, well, you got Space Jam 2 coming up as well. You got some other that's gonna be
Oh
an
man,
Oscar
yeah,
contender. Don't
right,
worry,
yeah,
LeBron's going for it. But yeah, no, Judas, I'm hoping that's gonna be the the first one that I'm wowed by. It just looks great. I hear great things, but yeah, not so much wowed by this. Do you have? Because you don't have to, because some people don't on this podcast. But if you have a rating, would you have a number for it?
Hmm. I think
I can go first if you're thinking.
no. I think
Okay.
if I ever guessed again here, what I'm gonna do is not. I don't want to rate bad movies. I'll just fail this movie, and then I'll rate better movies. You know what I mean? Like I don't know whether to give this a 3 or a 4, but somewhere in that range. I
But
just
it's under 50% for you at
yeah
least. That's what you're
yeah.
saying. So it's I don't know. It's tough for me. I'm somewhere caught in between. Maybe I'd go with it like a 5.5 because I'm stuck in between like a 5 and 6. Where like I don't think it's a, I don't think it's a bad movie. So that's why I can't necessarily fail it. But I don't think it's definitely not a good movie. I guess it's just not like offensively bad. Maybe that's why I'm being less harsh on it. It's just kind of a movie that's there and it was made and I watched it and there was actors acting. I had like a little enjoyment out of it, but that was about it. But there wasn't anything like there's some moments like I said, I feel like the back half of this movie when Rami gets with the killer, I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. But the first half is just like your classic cop stuff of oh, there's a murder and this and that, and they don't trust each other. So yeah, I think I'd be like a 5.5, like just above like a C minus. So close to a fail. I don't think I'm exactly there yet. I think maybe at times Rami Malek would have almost got me closer to that. But and even then, I'm a huge fan. I know lots of people dog on him. I was fine with him winning for Bohemian. I think he did a great job. I know some people are like, oh, it's just like impersonation, but I thought he did good. I'm very excited to see what he does in Bond, but maybe just not the right role for him, unfortunately. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
well
agree.
yeah, well,
Sorry to
that's the
cut you
little
off.
things. No, no, go ahead. Do you have anything else to say as we
uh,
end this out?
Not really, but I guess just one last thing. I would say now I'm losing my train of thought. I would say yeah, 3 or 4 for me maybe, just because I wasn't happy that I watched this movie. Like afterwards, I was like, oh, that was kind of a waste of a 2 hours. So
I
I
could
guess
tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to
When
put
we
that out
messaged
there.
you, you're just like, well, it's just a movie, and like
Yeah,
even I asked like, oh, is it worth the time? And you're just like, no, like
yeah,
not even like,
right.
oh, this that. It's like no, and it's not like that's what I mean. Like unless you just like. If one of these people are your favorite actor and you have to watch, or again, we are in the pandemic, right? So it's like if you want to
Yeah,
watch something new, it's a movie, then yeah, sure. You know, if you have HBO Max already, fired up, and maybe you like, and that's the same thing. I always say, if you like it, whether it's in our Discord chat or on our social media, please let me know and see the other side. Because I've talked to a few people that did like it. They like the slow burn.
yeah,
One of my people I know called it great. I was like, I can't. I don't know. I would have to not question the person, but I want to have a conversation with that person. Like, I don't know if I could get to great with this movie. I could see someone maybe enjoying it, but great. That's a big stretch for me, but that's a good thing with film and TV. It's all subjective, right? It's like, well, some people's shit is another people's gold mine, and vice versa. So,
yeah,
well, thank you,
yeah.
sir, for joining me on this because I would have just done this solely, but it was nice I knew you're watching and talk to you about this. And yeah, hopefully the next time I have you on, it'll be for obviously you come on after nines, but if I have you on another review, hopefully it'll be for something a bit more better to our liking.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
You have anything to? I always say this. I know you probably don't, but you have anything to promote or shout out or anything like that, or
No, I'm probably good on that. Looking forward to Judas and the Black Messiah. So everybody watch
yeah,
that, I guess.
yeah. Clay has no affiliation, no money involved, but go
Right.
watch that movie. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, thank you very much. If you have your reviews or your thoughts, let us know about it. And thank you very much for tuning in. Everything is down below. Like I said, as always, you can find where you can find us on video, audio, Patreon, all that whole good jazz. And thank you for tuning in. And promising to hear from us next. It'll not be boring.